say, first of all, after listening to our hosts, Microsoft for Startups, I want to say thank you for allowing us to have this event together with Web3M. Please raise your hands, Web3M team. They are partners of this event. Web3M is a monetization layer for Web3 apps. And myself, Liron Glickman, business development consultant for startups. We gathered together for this event. And as you can understand, maybe behind me, this event is very special because we're not only here, we're going to talk about Web3, about social media, metaverse, and we're also going to be in the metaverse, guys. So we're not just talking, we're actually doing. Hi. So I would like to give you a short introduction of our metaverse studios today with Adan. Are you ready to do it now? Great. While he gets ready, after that, we're going to have Adil Buskila from Web3M to share some insight. He just came back from the US. He's been to some of the biggest conferences. He met Gary Vee and other influencers, and he's going to share some points from his experience. And then our panel with amazing people. And as I promised, the panel is going to be very interesting. We're going to have Liron Langel from Meta3 Ventures, Adan Kedem, Adil Buskila, and Ola with us as well from Tatavi. So let's start with a very quick hello to our friends online and in the metaverse. Are we ready?
Maybe
well, Adil? Okay, so Adil will start and then we'll say hello to our team, to our guests from the metaverse.
Wow.
So Adil Buskila, yeah? Adil Buskila, please share your points with us. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm very glad to be here. But before I'm starting, I want to say thank you very much for Microsoft for hosting us. So let's hear some love for Microsoft. Very supportive. And I will start with a short introduction. I will introduce myself. I come mostly from an area of cybersecurity. And I known back when I was a kid, I think 15 years ago, for finding major vulnerabilities in corporations like PayPal, also in Microsoft, in Bank Mizrahi. And after a while, I was starting to take myself into the marketing industry and understood how I can operate my knowledge of hacking and understanding the internet into this emerging industry and getting it on its feet. Long story short, I managed over $100 million in ad spend for Fortune 500 companies and a lot of very known campaigns that were very, very successful back in the days. I read a book from a VC called Aleph. And they said one thing that caught my eye and made me understood that I need to turn this into a startup. They said the startup, by definition, need to evoke that the world is a better place. So after understanding that every big marketing funnel ends up with Google ads or Facebook ads, I quickly realized that this industry is way too centralized and we need to do something about it. So today, my passion is disrupting the marketing industry. So I'm the founder of a company called Web3M. Before I'm going to talk about how we secured $5 million from clients within 3 days leveraging the NFT technology, I want to talk about the current social landscape. So we all trust social media, we all adore it, use it on a daily basis. We use Facebook, we use Instagram. The numbers shows that there are millions of active users every month that goes on those platforms and spend time to really pay our attention. And don't let us to be bored for a second. So what I'm about to show you is going to blow you out of the water. Last year alone, we saw a breach in Facebook, exposed 530 million Facebook users. Facebook decided not to say anything about it to its users. We also saw a data breach in Snapchat. We saw how they got really, all of the data was leaked, everything was out, and that was an outrage. But even today, in the past 24 hours, we saw a breach in TikTok that exposed billions of users and called everyone to change their passwords. Well, I know this is a shame. Like, seeing those kind of situations make me think, like, what's privacy? Why are we keeping our data and trying to keep some stuff privately or some stuff publicly when everything eventually going out and being leaked to the web? With that being said, we can also agree that there is not a single person who started, let's say, dating with someone without doing a full background check on who this guy is on social media, checking him on Instagram, on LinkedIn, where he works, what he's doing, everything. So, what is privacy and how we can keep it? What's really bothering us in this situation of data breaches? Why we feel this itch when we see all of those events happening over the years? So, my take on the situation is that we are very worried that we're not in control. We're not in control, and corporations, we need to trust them blindly to keep us safe and to keep our information in a way that will save us and will allow us to really control it. But eventually the reality is that we're not in control. We can't own our data, even though we increase awareness of privacy. We know how to secure ourselves, to close our profile, to create close friends, and show only stories to them. We know how to send private messages to people, but we're not really in control. And this is the situation that emerged Web3 into the space. So when we refer a crypto wallet, usually what we mean is it's a wallet that holds our assets. Let's say cryptocurrency, it can be bitcoins, it can be whatever assets or tokens that we're holding. I want to teach you something that will give you a little taste of how the future of privacy and identity is going to look like. And this is something that you need to rephrase for yourself. Your personal wallets are a universal identity, and its data is publicly available to everyone. Let's give you a second to make it sink. This phrase is representing the future of identity. Oh, thank you. The future of identity and how we perceive wallets and will use wallets in the future. So we're not really going to take those wallets and only hold our assets inside of them. Because all our data is publicly available to everyone, this becomes our identity. And the fact that we know that and we increase awareness about it allows us to control what we do and how we operate our identities, many identities, over the internet. Your wallet is your user. If you used the Web3 service in the last year, you probably saw this kind of login screen allowing you to log in with your wallet. Every time you log in to every website or every service in the Web3 space, a record is created on the blockchain that is publicly available and everyone can see it. Now, this is a very big advantage. This is a very, very big advantage for brands, because right now, it's not the user that is uniquely hosted on each service that you're using. Facebook knows only what Facebook knows about you. TikTok knows only what TikTok knows about you. No. Now we can see what a wallet, what a person, what inside of a wallet that represent the identity that's been logged in. We can see their NFTs. We can see their event tickets, where they like to go. We can understand what assets they're holding and what metaverses they like. And based on that, we can understand and give extra value to our clients. So this is no surprise that big brands like Nike, Dolce & Gabbana, Adidas, Tiffany, Gucci, all understood the potential of the blockchain and started to sell those digital products as NFTs. And they're making hundreds of millions of dollars. They can track who is a loyal client that maybe didn't buy from them. You can buy on a secondary market, sneakers, and they can identify, oh, you like sneakers? You buy tens of Nike sneakers? We want to reward you in some way that will allow you to communicate and interact with us on an extra level of layer. For marketing and as a marketing platform, this is profound because we can really take all this data, all those people, and extract another insights from it that will allow us to target our audience better, to know what value we can give them, and to build routes inside of it that will uniquely identify every user and give them what they need. So you're asking, where is the privacy in all of that? So let me tell you, the privacy, and this is the consensus of what I learned over the course of, I think, 5 months going around in conferences and meeting all of the biggest founders in the industry. Privacy is by you controlling what wallet you decide to share with those industries. You don't want to share a wallet that has relationship with your private interactions, with the private people. You can just, in a click of a finger, create a new wallet, connect it to the website, and you have a clean identity that you're now building. I will give you a case study that we in Web3M did with VFriends that enables us to take advantage of a great NFT project that's created by the mastermind Gary Vee. So, Gary Vee is not a guy that needs introduction. I guess most of you know him. He's a marketing mastermind, and today he's one of the most influential people in the entrepreneurship and NFT space. And he created an NFT project called VFriends. So, long story short, everyone who holds VFriend NFT, it's like a ticket to an event that's called VCon. So you can hold Gary Vee NFT and get access to its community, and also get a physical utility by entering the VCon event with this NFT. So this is a very, very basic understanding of how this model is created. I think he was the first person, the first utility NFT that I heard that ever created. And we in Web3M, we knew what his audience is all about. We knew that his audience is marketing experts, is entrepreneurs, business owners, and Web3 founders. And we wanted to target them. And we thought to ourselves, how can we do it? So we understood that there is going to be around 10,000 people in this event, coming, seeing, enjoying everything, every trader. And we thought, what value we can bring to those people in order to gather them as clients to our platform. We chose something that if you're long in marketing, you probably remember from Google AdWords. We wanted to give a voucher of $400 in ad spend to those people. If you're over 10 years in marketing, you're probably familiar with this voucher of Google AdWords just starting to kick into Israel, giving those cards to everyone with different codes, giving you like a trial money to test your campaign, to see how it will go and how the market will react to it. We wanted to do kind of the same thing, but giving away $400 in ad rate is a lot, and we didn't want it to go and start to spiral and get to everyone, because $400 multiplied by, let's say, 10,000 people, this can be a bit problematic. So we created a filtering, we created a software that enables people to connect their wallet, and with this wallet we can check if they own a VFriend NFT without being related, without any collaboration or affiliation with the VFriend community. We could check who owns this NFT and also who is inside the event currently. And we could provide them with these $400. You know what the result of the campaign were? We got over 100 clients with the total volume of more than $5 million in ad spend, in ad volume. Guys, we got some of our most serious design partners to our software, to our platform, using this method. And because of that, this is just the beginning of how we can really attract people using their NFTs, how we can add an extra value, how we can build together using all of this technology, all of these new layers of data towards us. So I will end and say that the beauty of things is that it's open to everyone. It's not controlled or governed by any big corporation. And it's not a server somewhere in the ocean that no one have a reach and know how to get to. We can interact with each other. We can build with each other. We can build on top of each other. We can use our technologies as building blocks to leverage our success and build this space of Web3 by innovative and combining knowledge of a bigger collective. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. There is a lot of things we can learn from Adil, from our panelists. But this is the time to invite our panelists. So let's start. Ladies first. Ola see the VP of Product
questions now.
I hope I say it right. Leon Lange, Managing Partner at Mendon Ventures and CIO at Nielsen Innovate Fund. Leon, it's a great pleasure to have you here with us. Adan Kedem, CMO at GA Team. Guys, please, time to introduce yourself as well. So share with us more about your background. Start with you.
Hey, I don't think it's on. You can hear me, right? My voice carries. I'm good. Okay, fine.
You want? Perfect. It's recorded.
So hi, my name is Ola. I'm VP of Product at Tedavi. Tedavi is basically a capturing immersive technology. What we do is we capture people in 3D. That example that you remember you've seen is real people instead of avatars in the metaverse, in games. That's what we do. But we also work with a lot of companies in building that utility for them, whether it's content, gaming, interactive experiences, immersive performances, or a consumer application, because what we want to do is bring that capability to creators, to utilize it to content they can market, create NFTs with it, create experiences and worlds for their consumers and their communities with it. And we're combining those two worlds together.
Thank you very much. Leon?
Hi everybody, thank you for joining us. I'm Roland. I'm the Chief Investment Officer of Nielsen Innovate Fund and the Managing Director of Web3M Ventures. I'm an entrepreneur, investor. I'm working in the industry for more than 20 years, establishing and managing a few startup companies and held a variety of senior positions in public companies as well. Some of the known ones include Vocaltech, the pioneering voice over IP, the CEO, and manage the engineering product group, the product preparing systems, the for decision, while I apply to others. For the last 6 years, we've invested in tens of companies, in media, retail, and more, and that's the exits very depends on what it is. With Web3 Ventures, we are an investment firm focused on late-stage companies with AI, Web3, blockchain and metaverse, and specifically we are bridging the early stage venture models with the Web3 movements.
How many NFTs will the team launch? I don't actually know that exact number.
I cannot say
At the
more
moment.
creating, but we
Stay
do
tuned. Post-launch.
experience in the metaverse. But besides that, I've been in digital marketing for the last 15 years. Done everything from affiliate marketing, online marketing, whatever you want, I did it. I used Discord like 5 years ago, and I used all these methods in order to create communities. I started my journey with blockchain and the world of blockchain 6 years ago. I created a community called Crypto Valley Israel, with over something like 100,000 people inside, managed on WhatsApp groups. That was innovation a couple of years ago, and basically it was a blockchain agency. Since then, I've been a consultant to several startups, been a digital leader and innovator of several blockchain companies since then. And last year, I've been part of the Forward Group. We consulted with something like 100 different startups on all kinds of economics models. And today we're creating metaverses, experiences in metaverses, and like bridging the gap between the traditional and the 2.0 boring, uncentralized or centralized worlds to decentralized worlds and making it fun and habitable.
Hello, I already introduced myself, but here I'm representing my company, Web3M, which come to solve a problem for 50,000 companies in the crypto space that can't advertise. I don't know if you know that, but crypto companies can't advertise on Facebook, on Google, on traditional channels. So we are working on building a marketing infrastructure that will allow them to promote and advertise and grow their community and friends. I am their CTO and founder.
Thank you. So as you can understand, we have over 100 years of experience here together in this panel, but more so, we have people that are coming from different angles. And this is where it's going to start to get interesting, guys. I want to ask you if you can shortly define what is Web3 from your standpoint, and I would lovely want to start please as an investor. What is Web3 from your standpoint, please?
We are entering a new era, a new iteration of the internet. Needed of ownership and transfer value without intermediaries was discussed. And every once in a while, one gets involved in a revolution, and we are experiencing one of the biggest one that we've ever seen, the digital transformation in Web3. Centralized web to a decentralized web, from a physical world to an IoT connected world, will include virtual worlds and the metaverse, and of course it will significantly affect our society and economy. Just to mention that vectors that are being disrupted in a matter of months and will be even faster and stronger in the coming years. metaverse is on top of it. If the Web3 is part of the evolution of technology, the metaverse includes basically much more things that can be taken into account. It's part of the fourth wave of computing and networking. The first one was the mainframe, then the personal computer, and the internet, then mobile and the cloud, and now it's all about 3D experiences. And another place that we can be there, interact there, coexist with different identities. So metaverse, and inspired by Matthew Paul, the definition is it's a network. It's a network of scalable and super scalable and interoperable network of real-time rendered virtual worlds one can experience in a synchronized and persistent way by unlimited number of people with sense of existence, like I mentioned earlier. And all this with data continuity, which means identity, history, interaction, and communications, asset, and support. So it's about a unified experience, interoperable, and interconnected with others.
Thank you, Simon. And Ola, do you have anything to add to that from your standpoint?
Sure. I think that as a product person, one of the things I'm always focused on is the user and the consumer that's standing in front of me. And I think on top of everything that's happening technologically that's allowing Web3 to exist, it also creates a new type of user and a new mindset of user. It's a person who's aware of what's happening, aware of their data, aware of their behavior, aware of the relationship they have on the web to the brands, to the products they're consuming, and a person who's interested to have a community in a new way, in a new sense. So I think that also allows those worlds and that interactivity and that world to exist.
Thank you. Adan, what do you have to add on that?
Well, basically, I think Web3 is the way to connect everyone and have possibility of peer-to-peer interactions. Today, as it stands, the blockchain community and the blockchain world and metaverse can do a lot of things, but they cannot do peer-to-peer interactions without the interaction of Web2 going outside. There's no way to even purchase things out of VR these days. So there's a lot of things that Web3 needs to consolidate and needs to have like a certain standard inside. But the main thing that Web3 is supposed to fix for us is to connect Web2, Web3, have peer-to-peer interactions with a full circle commerce. We can exchange, they have to meet someone, and then, hey, I want your glasses. If he doesn't want, I can shake his ass. No, I'm just kidding. But the main thing is to have peer-to-peer interactions. The metaverse is all about peer-to-peer interactions. With no peers in the metaverse, it's boring as hell. I can tell you, I can spend a lot of time on it. I don't have a lot to do in my day-to-day. I'm just kidding. But I do explore this world, and alone, it sucks. With other people, it's fun, and it's hilarious, and you have adventures, you meet new people, and I think Web2 is all about the experience, and all about expanding our known Web2 universe into peer-to-peer interaction.
Thank you. So, Adi?
Well, my colleagues here described it very, very nicely, but there is one thing that I came across when I speak to people about Web3 and what its definition is. So, first of all, Web3 is kind of a vague definition, but it's not a technology. Web3 is not like blockchain. Blockchain is a technology. Web3 is all about a concept. It's an agenda. It's taking what's currently in the infrastructure that we love and use on our everyday life, if it's social media, if it's transportation, it can be Uber, Airbnb, every big company that currently exists, and understand that we rely on those companies. So Web3 is the next version of the internet where we can take control back to us. We can use it by leveraging the technology of blockchain, using assets that are digital, and all sort of stuff. But Web3 is about taking what currently exists in the Web 2 and build it better, build it in a way that we can get the power back to us as users, as consumers, and not rely on those big corporations. It's kind of disrupting how the internet is working in a way that will be more transparent and fair to everyone.
Just adding to this information. So Web3 is basically based on other technologies such as blockchain, like you mentioned, AI-driven services, AI, 5G, 6G, and so forth, decentralized data architecture, decentralized applications, and basically it enables users to own their data, application data, assets, currency, and so forth, and to use it or transfer it without intermediaries. And this course open.
Where is the event? This event is in Tel Aviv.
It's with smart contracts.
And the
executed automatically with certain applications that will replace traditional services and of course products.
Thank you. So, as you've heard here, different people gave different angles of what it is, and we know some of the Web3 aspects already are working, and now there's some of them are still being under construction these days.
Ooh, Nicole, that sounds cool.
Many of you here are startups. I want to approach Beauty1 because you're an investor who has a great understanding and knowledge in technology and let alone Web3 and metaverse. From an investor standpoint, what are the differences and similarities of Web3 investments to Web2 investments or other technologies? So, what are the unique things that you're looking for Web3 investments?
Great question.
That's hard to say. I mean, I have a lot of predictions for the future. I want to echo what they're saying, but just personal information being on the blockchain, for example, I think that's a huge thing that I think most countries will adopt quickly. Passports, medical information, things like that. Yeah, that's one of my predictions.
Although the mechanics of Web3 investment are similar, there are major differences, starting with knowledge, know-how, and what it means to value add to ventures and founders. So typically, venture funds give their entrepreneurs access to capital, networks, and to insights. And founders, Web3 founders, insights about marketing, sales, and unit economics are not enough. They need insights about token economics, about token design, about governance mechanism, about blockchain development, smart contract audit, about regulation that relates to crypto, about how to build communities and so forth. So this is only one aspect that relates to what type of insights they will be looking for. Second relates to security and custody. When you invest in equity, it's quite easy. You have a certificate, you have a cap table, and the share registry. When you think about investing in crypto or startup tokens,
Yes, I'm in Canada.
there are a lot of things that you need to consider in terms of how to store your assets and how you're going to operate in this challenging environment. Things like, where should I store my private keys? Where should I use a multi-sig contracts? Should I transfer my assets to what the cold wallet? Where to store it? What if I want to use my tokens to stable or to add to liquidity pools? What type of insurance can I get? And many other things.
Not that I know of in Canada. Yeah.
Diverse portfolio.
I'll let you.
One more thing that worth mentioning relates to ownership. The venture funds used to have stakes
Maybe.
in 20% of late-stage startups. And Web3 is all about, fundamentally, is about community-driven startups. And community will not accept the case that an investor will have too much ownership in the company. And that's why we see less ownership in companies by the VCs. Actually, most of the successful projects allocated 10 to 20% of the tokens to the investors. This reserve tokens for the public, for contributors, advisors, and for staking rewards and so forth. But these two things. One, this is needed to cooperate much more and help the companies to succeed. And second, then since they have much less allocation, we see the reward in the capital efficiencies of this project and the outsized return. This is the main three things I can mention.
So basically what you're saying is, apart from the team and the product, there are different aspects when it's come to Web3. And you said you talked about knowledge, you talked about tokenomics, you talked about industry understanding. And my next question on that would be, how would you recommend a Web3 startup to prepare for a meeting? So you mentioned some of the things, but if there's anything else they should know to prepare before coming to meet with investors?
So first of all, be prepared, do your
Yourself.
homework, where you're going to meet with, come with a plan, master your domain. The plan should include what you are going to do, why, how, what are the required funds to the proceeds, and in this case, of course, token economics and how you're going to build your community is essential. On top, of course, listen and be attentive, and last but not least, try to enjoy and learn from each and every interaction in your journey to success.
Thank you very much. Now, I want to ask now to move to Adir, because also, Lilo, now you mentioned one part that is important for you as an investor is to understand about the privacy aspect of the Web3 startup. Adir, you talked much about the privacy and, I mean, the way that you see the wallets and privacy and so on. But I want to ask you, so from the hand of a cyber expert, so if we can learn much about the identity of the users through their purchases, how can their privacy really be kept? Because there is information out there.
That's a great question. How the privacy is really obtained in a world where everything is public, every record is tracked, everything is on the blockchain, and everybody knows everything about everyone. So the reality is that we exchange privacy for convenience. This is how the modern world is working, and we want to be able to control of what we share with what company. It's not about not sharing anything and expecting them to know what we like. When you scroll through the TikTok For You page, you expect to see videos that are related to you, that you will like. You not expect them to miraculously know what will work for you. You want to exchange these details and this privacy in exchange for the convenience, for the sake of your enjoyment. So what's really the revolution in privacy is going to be? It's going to be based on what we are willing to share. And we will probably, and this is only my take on this situation, we're probably going to create multiple identities. And we're going to share with each identity the traits that we feel that are relevant to this situation. And this enables us to control what we want to share with each application. And this is how we're going to obtain our privacy. So a smart user will know I'm connecting with, everybody have a spam email where they write their email and know that they will going to get a lot of tons of spam emails there, and they don't care because they never checked it. So everybody's going to have a spam wallet where they can connect to every website which not contains any asset, doesn't say anything about me, but with the website that I want to show myself, maybe it's a CV for applying for a job, or maybe it's like the next generation LinkedIn or whatever. You will want to connect your personal, professional wallet, which indicates that you're working, and your certificates.
Can't really
Maybe
elaborate.
green in some way, which will be NFTs, and you will save under this wallet. So everyone will have multiple wallets and decide what he wants to share. And this is how I see privacy.
So thank you for that note. And you're saying so the privacy, the wallet is going to take its own form, and then we're going to go with that on the social media, on the Web3. And I wanna coach Adam on this question. So from your experience as a marketer, as a person who's been working in social media for many years, since maybe inception, how would the decentralized social media should or would look like? Is it going to be a Discord? Is it going to be TikTok on decentralized TikTok? How do you think it's going to look like?
Well, it depends how you look at social media these days. You have a lot of problems with privacy, but let's face it, most of us will sign anything if it has to click agree just to get to their app. So I don't know if anybody pays attention to those small details of I'm going to collect your soul and sell it to the Chinese or Russian. So I don't know about that, but the decentralization is just the essence of what blockchain is and decentralization is basically to do things on another way. Today, what you're doing basically is you're giving instead of receiving, and you do a lot of things through centralized systems that manipulate you in order to do things. I'm not saying it's not going to happen on the blockchain, but I'm just saying you'll have a better understanding of what you're doing, and you're going to get rewarded for it. So basically, you're giving out your information, your pictures, your thoughts. We were talking about digital twins, so you're even telling people everything you do. Basically, we made a campaign a while back, if you're talking about social media, so we tagged people on the train, specifically on hours of the train, and it shot the ROI like 800% in a couple of days because we stopped everything besides the train because we figured out people are bored of the train and they just do stuff. So these are the things you can do as a marketer to manipulate and to get your ROI better. Now, as a decentralized social media, let's say you have a Facebook fan base and you posted something. And this something can be an NFT. I'm sorry I'm using the word NFT. I know it's kind of tainted, but the technology behind this thing is miraculous because you get some sort of singular action on this NFT that basically your fans can trade. They can have secondary markets, they can trade as memorabilia. This post in time gives you something that connects you to this person. And this is what makes it special. There's a lot of different companies that are developing social media platforms these days. And imagine the same thing as like a decentralized exchange, but on a post. People that are the market makers are going to sit on the post itself, going to buy and sell it to the community. There's going to be like market making on posts, on likes, on everything. And again, there's a lot of things we need to figure out in social media, but ownership is definitely the buzzword because at the end of the day, these days you don't own anything, and the companies don't want you to realize that basically everything you do, if you're in Europe, you have a law that's called GDPR. That means you can download everything from any platform you are on and sell it or move it or do whatever you want with it. And basically that's the power of owning your own data. What makes Bitcoin, for example, again, a dirty word. So the Bitcoin basically gives you several things that you never had before. And it's kind of a social network. But to make it a long story short, it's the peer-to-peer interactions, it's the commerce, it's the secondary markets for things that you cannot even imagine that you can have. Like pictures, if you have a picture, you can sell, people can buy.
It's a different experience, such as, yeah. Share? Sure.
I have something to add. So I warned you upfront that I'm going to represent the unpopular opinion in this model. So I have a different vision of how the social landscape is going to be shaped in the future, in the Web3, in a way that people will have it more, in a way that will be easier to relate for the everyday person. So just to, as a background, in 2017, we saw everybody build currencies, right? Everybody tried to build the next Bitcoin, the next currency that will work. And in 2021, 22, we saw the bull run all of the major infrastructure tokens, Ethereum, Avalanche, Polkadot, all of those major infrastructure that enables us to build applications on top of them. Now, the next bull run will probably be social medias, and we'll probably have much buzzwords like ownership, identity, and all of that. But to be honest, I really think that the current social medias are doing a fantastic job entertaining us. They provide us with a great experience of how to spend our time and attention. And although this is the unpopular opinion because they're centralized and they're evil, they're algorithms of how to target you, how to target each and every one of you, and knows what content will entertain, will give you the value that you need. It's something that, in its core, this is their IP. This is the something that can't be avoided. Nobody can ignore this kind of ability that they have. So the new Web3 social medias will have hard time to know how to master this art using all of those open source and all of those traits that the Web3 have. So how it's going to look like? It's going, in my opinion, it's going to be based on the monetization. So the monetization right now going on the back end. So people like advertisers, all of those companies, the social platforms are making money from advertisements. You all know that. They are making money on the back end and giving a small percentage that they control that is not transparent and nobody can see to the content creator. So when people talk to me about the social landscape, I immediately think about the content creators because they are the key of how the new social interactions are going to be implemented. So if I'm trying to imagine, let's say, Twitter or Instagram, or let's say YouTube, this is the easiest example. I, as a content creator, I can post a video. YouTube plays an ad on top of my content, and I can see that they're giving me, let's say, 20% of the ad profits. So I can transparently understand, okay, this is what they made, this is my take, and they got me to be distributed and exposed to all of this audience. And this is their step towards Web3. They are not going to expose their IP and how they're targeting people. They're going to split the profits equally and transparently using the blockchain technology with the content creators. And this will be the smallest step that they can do to make their companies in the social landscape, the Web3 landscape.
And actually, the next question to Ola was exactly that. So, because you're also dealing with influencers and content creators, so what's your take on that? How can they monetize and operate in a decentralized network?
Here, I'm going to disappoint you. Your opinion is not as unpopular as you think. But I think in general, the biggest question is, what is social media and Web3? Because I think when we talk about social media, or when I, in my elderly age, talk about social media, the first thing I think about is Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. We're talking 7 years ago. But if we're talking to Gen Z or the people who were born in 2020, social media for them is Roblox, it's Minecraft, it's where they socialize with friends, where they spend time to consume content and things created by their peers are those platforms. That's where they're socialized, that's where they create for. And those possibilities of creating something, connecting it to the blockchain, and connecting it even to a creation that has multiple steps and is created together as a community, and it's one of the values that's added to that, is one of those abilities that are existing in that social media, and Instagram or Twitter are sometimes trying to mimic for an older audience. And when you're thinking about creating capabilities, as we do at Telavi for that audience, that ability, we're looking at how do you create content, and for us, that ability of connecting data and making it private and personal and secure is super important, because as we said, we're capturing you, we're connecting every data point on your body in movement in real time, and connecting it to an AI that predicts your movement right now, and predicts your movement and presence in the future. And that's something you want to customize as a person, because somebody wants to be themselves in the virtual space, and somebody wants to be their self with unicorn and wings and butterflies. Not a personal example at all. But in general, the way you look at that data, the way you look at customizing and utilizing that data, and building it as a capability for the right social media, whether it's what we know today or whatever is going to pop up in 2 years, is what we kind of try and build a bridge upwards in a way in product right now for Web3.
So with that in mind, how can we actually monetize, advertise, and Liron, if you want to share it again, on the Web3 and there's the content creators and everything that you can do and add and all the creativity around it. How can we monetize on the Web3 as opposed to what we know today? Advertise on the Web3 as opposed to what we know.
So to really understand the future of advertising, what it means, we need to understand that privacy will be at the core of the network. And all type of third-party cookies and mobile device identifiers, PPIDs, unified IDs, pixels, all type of things that help us with marketing will be less relevant. Like on Web3, user identity will be tied to public address, which will be associated with a piece of software called wallet. So the whole process of profiling will be different, and it is relevant because it will be based on wallets, identities, assets, interactions, all type of places will be visiting. So of course it will open more opportunities and alternatives for advertisers that target users in new spaces based on their assets, NFT assets and so forth. It's going to be totally different, and much more important, there will be communities and influencers, then we see them it's even much more important and much more cost effective for advertisers to leverage communities, to leverage influencers for their purposes. And more type of engagement with their communities will be based on this type of community. Token for coupons, promotions, and all types of benefits, loyalty tokens, and the like will be given from the brands to the customers.
Now, you've mentioned communities, and Adina, I want to ask you if you can share in short, because you have built a community, I think some of them are now watching us. If you can share just briefly, what were the main actions you took to build a community which are different than building a community on the Web2 as we know? Just what is the main building blocks for that, on the Web3?
I think it's a combination of multiple things, but in its core, the most important thing while building a community is to hear what they have to say and pay attention. I found myself spending hours of hours answering people I never met. I only know their nickname on Discord, helping them advertising their brand with no return, everything for free, adding value and bringing value to people that want to interact with you. Be kind and supportive and positive.
Steve, this is Web3M collaborating with Microsoft.
Represent the Web3 and crypto community as we know it today, and this is the key for every successful community.
You mean that it's more helpful, it's more accountable, because it's a kind of a new wave?
I think that there are a lot of people who met their best friend online, who has never met them in person, and have meaningful and deep conversation with them about private stuff and about everything. And this is a little leap of faith that you take in this industry that characterizes a lot of people that builds eventually a community that is strong and sustainable for the long run.
So what I'm taking from you is actually community is community. It's people, maybe they are gathered around a different thing, but you mentioned the core and important things the human interaction. Now I want to move to you, Adan. I know you have many points and many challenges that you find when it comes to Web3. And if you could mention two of the most hectic challenges that you find when it comes to advertising on the Web3.
Okay, so first of all, I wanted to say something about the community part for a second. Community, a healthy community, is a community that's based on a common denominator, like crypto Web3 metaverse. And the other thing, it has to have mutual trust and respect between the communities and help each other. So if the community is not helping each other, something is off by a beat, because the community has to take care of itself. It has their own leaders, it has their own thoughts. The community is driving themselves forward in a sense. And I completely agree with the parts, by the way. It's going to change, like social media is going to change, but the two things that are ruining the experience is basically the UI and the UX of this experience. Once in the central end, let's say, that's a blockchain-based game, you go in, you can buy land, you can own it, you can display things, but there's no search engine. So how can you find my store? How can you find my land? How can I know things about this property that I'm visiting? So, like JP Morgan built the bank, built their first bank, bless you. That's a community thing. So they built the first bank in the central end, and actually it's not a bank, it's just like a booth with a weird ass tiger walking around and stuff. But try to find it. I dare you. It took me like 20 minutes to find it, and I'm quite acquainted with that place. So search is one of the most like basic mechanics in the world these days, and we don't have it. No search. The other thing that sucks is basically no information whatsoever. That means if you're a startup or like a company that wants to build in this metaverse and you want to decide where to build, which community, what, if you want to use spatial, outspace, or blocks, whatever. None of the other platforms are sharing this information. So basically you're clueless and you're in the dark. It takes like hours and hours and hours of research. If you want to download the game to your Oculus, or like if it's not in the store, it takes you like 2 hours to set up an account and download stuff. The UI, UX of blockchain and the metaverse is atrocious. It's a problem. It's a big problem. Luckily, startups are taking care of it, and slowly but surely we're getting there. But at the end of the day, there's tons of problems. What we do in our day-to-day life is to bridge those problems and to actually create better experiences. Not only Web 2, Web 3, mobile. You have to understand you don't have to stop your client, and that's like another problem with the metaverse and Web 3. A lot of companies are stopping you from using their experience. And it's part of like a user journey that has to be like, I think, better formed. That's like the two things.
And having said that, I want to move to Ola, the product, from the product aspect. So how, if we're talking about the Web3 user experience and the ad campaign, what would be the point of view with building the product on the advertising component?
I think one of the things that Adan just touched on, and I completely agree with, is that people are building worlds in a way and aren't building the bridges between them. And Adir spoke a lot about how we connect those things, how we take something like our wallet and walk through all those worlds together that's connected to us. But that is unfortunately still dependent on those platforms, those worlds that are needed to connect to that wallet. It needs to be in their interest to bring it in, that they kind of need to create their own, I don't know, port for that ship to come in and be able to be read in that world. I love that metaphor for whatever reason. But the thing is, as we build a product, and for us, we're not building a world, we're not building a platform, we're building a digital you that you can take across different platforms. We still haven't found that bridge that utilizes everything we want in it. We still haven't found that place that we can say, listen, we know our user, we're talking to our user, we have a community, we understand their pains and we understand their passions and we understand their behaviors, we just want to reach out to them. We don't have that method yet of reaching out to that specific user that we know so much about. Because where they are and how they behave in a place that doesn't track that information and doesn't connect that information to any network. So, yes, we use, what do you do? Yeah, for us.
So, what I do besides my work, I travel those worlds. I go from station to outspace to Roblox to whatever as a user. I know it's kind of ridiculous, but not ridiculous. I like the virtual world even better than you guys. I mean, as she said, I can be like a chicken and you can be a cow. We can have this wonderful conversations. We even do like a show.
Or you just examples for three amazing ideas, especially in space. That's good.
So basically, think about it this way: we visited a space, an outspace. It's called Campfire. It's a community hub for everyone. You have conversations with the people inside. We've been to a funeral of one of the guys that died from that community, a funeral in outspace, with his own memorial site. So you travel, you teleport to his world to see his pictures, his grave, everything that has to do with the community is inside those spaces. You just have to talk to the people. And that's what's amazing about the metaverse. We didn't talk about it a lot, but that's what's amazing about the metaverse. You meet people, you have experiences you never thought you're going to have. People tell you things like, if you go around them a little bit, hey, dude, you're touching me. Like, no, I'm not touching them, you know, over there with my VR. It's like, people are, you're kind of losing yourself into it. One of my favorites is the
And this is Web3M collaborating with Microsoft. We're talking about
you actually see your cigarette. So, in a sense, I know it sounds dumb, but in a sense, that's the metaverse for me. I go from place to place, I talk to people, I explore these worlds. We have commerce in these worlds, so you go into a store, you have a PayPal account on the wall. So you talk to the pizza if you want to buy like jewelry or a cigarette or whatever. It's called an MRE. So you go to the salesman, you tell him, hey, I want to buy this, so go to your PayPal. You can see the character go like this. Because he's going to his PayPal account, and you can check, you can take it. So basically, this entire place is really weird, but think about, and not like this world exists in virtual, right? So we can have this conversation on the moon, and that's why we opened the actual space on spatial.
We're going to see it in a few minutes, yeah. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. I'm sitting in there like with my alter ego, so basically, this is online right now. People that are watching and interacting, they can talk between themselves. This entire bingo environment can happen online on the metaverse. So yeah, that's.
I actually want to connect it to the other part of my question, because our solution right now is go a step back and use Web2. When we want to advertise for Web3, for experience and people building in Web3, I believe that the reason for ads to exist is to bring something somebody is interested in to their knowledge. It's not to push something, it's not to give something to somebody that isn't interested in them, it's bringing something that you're actually interested in to you that you weren't aware of. And that's not something that exists in Web3. You need to be super intentional in finding something you already know about in Web3, in Metaverse. And the only places you have this like random discovery that's available either through marketing campaigns or just campaigns that are about content are still in Web2.
So I want to connect you here.
Just want to add one more thing to this. I see all these beautiful people here in the audience, and really, like, I know there are people that are builders, there are people that are artists, there are people that are just tech savvies and crypto enthusiasts. So I call each and every one of those people here and online as well to come to any community that you like, that you feel comfortable in, and express yourself. Like the entrepreneurship type of mindset is solving problems. You can identify, I think, a zillion type of problems that every community and every project have, and contribute in a way that maybe you just add to the awareness of it. Maybe it's something that you feel that it's a problem that you need to be solved, and this will solve it. Like you will talk about it, and people will raise the bar and decide to do it. When people talk about the metaverse is a platform. You can do a lot of stuff in it. You can be like Adan, which is a gamer and likes it and goes and plays. But you can also just imagine a future where you don't have to drive in traffic to meet your banker and talk to him about your account. You just put the goggles and be in your home and do all of your arrangements and all of your meetings straight from home. Instead of going, finding parking spot, driving, spending all this time, and eventually it's efficient. Eventually it's the utility inside of every metaverse or every big buzzword level say that will transform this infrastructure into reality that you preserve. It doesn't matter if it's in VR, it doesn't matter if it's in gaming, it matters the utility that you're doing with it, the problem that it solves for your individual. And there's so much more to solve and build. And I want to call all of the audience that sees us right now and say, we want builders. We want to collaborate with builders. We want more people from the industry to come and contribute and say their opinion and be active. It's not only an investment that will go 100x. This is something that we build for us as a society. And everybody has a part in it. That's it. Just wanted to add.
Of course. And yeah, Leon, I want to also do opportunities because on the one hand, there is again the sense of communities. We're building the infrastructure of the future of the Web3 and the metaverse, and there is much of connection and expression and fun and emotion, and of course, I want to forget about the monetization. So, of course, we don't necessarily know the future, although you're in touch with different investors from all around the world. And what is your view on monetizing on the metaverse and where the metaverse is like to go from your standpoint?
So it's much more than gaming. Like with the early days of the internet, there was no technical explanation of what life would look like with the internet. So it's going to disrupt many verticals, be it gaming, entertainment, retails, fintech, education, remote working, and so forth. Just imagine education. People will be able to travel in time, meet the most famous person from the history.
They will not be talking about today. I'm not sure when that will be announced in the Discord, but
and experience and feel all things that I cannot even imagine. And on top of this, it can control and affect the physical world. And there are already applications, great applications by US and UK militaries, by hospitals and surgeries, all these type of things. So monetization depends on the application. And for social, it will be different models. And for e-commerce, and it's going to be.
It's endless as far as creativity can carry you. Now,
Can I add something on that?
sure.
I want to add a little bit something about monetization. And basically, we built this so we can have, let's imagine advertising running on those screens. You can scan the screen and buy NFTs. You can do whatever you want in this space, the e-commerce you mentioned. Let's imagine this space is a store. I know what you have in your wallet before you go into the store. I can totally change the store for your needs. So monetization, in effect, basically depends on the way we interact with the metaverse itself. We can have runway shows, we can have stand-up comedy, we can have educational events, and basically we can have some sort of event that collaborates with advertisers and publishers in the same space. we can go in a dance party. This thing, you can buy tickets to events. Everything you do in the real world, you can do in this world, but it's way more fun. The experience with the glasses, with the work with the goggles is different. The experience with the PC and everything is different, but at the end of the day, the experience is like you can travel the solar system, you can go watch dinosaurs. Yeah, it's all about the experience.
And
So definitely will be tailored to your needs and to your experiences, and of course it will be much more measurable. So that's for sure will create much more opportunities for monetization.
so you mentioned the word measurable, and what the main challenge at the moment is that Web3 apps companies cannot advertise on the social media that we know. And there are still challenges. It says that about 1% of crypto-related companies are actually using advertisements. There is an issue there. And I know, again, you have actually researched, you've done a thorough survey of that. And please explain why companies do not advertise and what are the
I am really not sure about when
on the
to
Web3.
talking about project
Well,
management
actually,
thing.
let me just correct you a little bit.
I'm
There
not
is
single.
100% of crypto companies trying to advertise
They
using
type you into them,
but only
that's all
1% of companies are monetizing their traffic for profit using ads. So this is a very, very unique research that we have done in the past 5 months. I met with over 150 founders and asked them, why don't you monetize your traffic? It doesn't matter if you're a DeFi platform or a metaverse land or a decentralized exchange. Why don't you place ads or experiences for sellers that you will feel comfortable with and monetize your traffic? So at the beginning, everybody says like, no, we don't want to support privacy violations with Facebook and Google, because this is like when you say digital advertisement, you instantly think of Google and Facebook. So once I explained them that marketing is not evil, it's just controlled by evil. They open their ears, and then I find out what's their biggest problems. So first it was the privacy things, and this is the outcome of that was my understanding of how the wallet and the future of wallet-based targeting is going to look like, how wallets going to represent our identity, and why this is okay as a consensus in the community right now. Other than saving cookies and tracking your identity in secret. So bringing the privacy to the front is the main issue. Other than that, people are afraid to promote scam projects. It's hard to say, but this space is full of scammers and people that want to just create their own cash flow using innocent people, and this is not cool. And people don't want to support it. They don't know how to avoid it. This is why we in Web3M build all of those technologies that's supposed to help crypto companies monetize and really make profit out of their traffic in a way that they will feel safe and secure. So that's it. There are also mentions about the experience, like nobody wants to see spammy ads and banners everywhere. So by enabling all of those things to occur simultaneously, by creating unique experiences for the end user to interact with the advertiser, and by filtering the scammy projects using some criteria, and by using wallet-based targeting instead of traditional targeting, we really can use this research that we have conducted across them and make monetization for Web3 companies more accessible.
Thank you. So there are some solutions. Now, before we're going to move to your questions, my original plan was to get some more examples on how to monetize and market on the Web3. I feel we did talk about it, but if you want to share, the three of you, maybe more points on how you see the marketing on the Web3, on the Web3, on the metaverse. If there's any other examples, because we have this great example. If you want to share any more points from you guys on how to use metaverse for marketing, or even Web3 for marketing.
I just want to give another angle to it rather than a solution. I think that for me personally, what we do is we work a lot with creators. And that means large creators like brands, because we just did a project with the LA Kings in the US. And it means creators. It's people who may be sitting in this room, or people online, or people in our own Discord channel. And we define our own monetization as a profit that comes from the profit of the creators. We give them tools, they succeed, we succeed when they succeed. And for that model to be actually functional, what we need to be is creative. We need to be creative ourselves, and we need to be listening to our community, like we said. But more so than that, we need to understand that what works in one place doesn't necessarily work in a different place, or even in that same place tomorrow. When we're building things, we need to be fast and flexible. I think this industry is so unique, and it's such a huge opportunity to be in it at the time we are, because everything is changing. And if you're dynamic enough and close enough, and I think kindness, you said before, and I think that's so true. If you're kind enough to your audience and kind enough to the people you're working with, you get those things done fast enough in time to work somehow.
I'll add something about, not necessarily about advertising, but again, everything about the metaverse is about connections, and you make instant connections with people in those spaces.
This is, if anybody has access to the metaverse and wants to watch from the metaverse, you can also do that. I do have a link. Don't think I can put it in the chat. Oh, yes, I can. Here we go. I'm putting the link in there. If you want to go check out this event on the metaverse.
Think about it this way. The entire economy of free-to-play games these days are wearables. So
the full experience, Web3 experience.
Some sort of metaverse. They made $5.1 billion this year from wearables in Game Pass. 68% of wearables, just skins for their characters. Think about that. So monetizing, yeah, it's already monetizing. The metaverse is there for the past 20 years. Gamers have been experiencing this for a long, long time. This is not new stuff for gamers. And our children are so accustomed for this. We don't need to tell them anything. I told my son to download this app, and he was like, what is this? Just download it. So basically, our children are going to spend a lot of money on this, so get ready.
And children is in 2 years. I think that the important part when we say children, or just when I say the children, for, I don't know, the youth. It's in 2 years. It's people who are going to have a credit card and purchasing things, if not now using their parents' credit card because they're over 13, but actually in a few years. And I think they're going to be a much bigger financial power in this world than we assume.
Actually, Fortnite users are like 9 to 20 something, and 9-year-olds already have their credit cards with V-Bucks.
It's happening, guys. It's happening. So I want to move to your questions, but before that, really, if you can share, each of you, one important note, important tip that you want our audience to take with them. Doing a quick, short note for our audience, tip for audience, and then your questions. Yeah, Adil?
I think of the most important note that I want everybody here to take from this conference is to engage. Don't fear to show yourself and talk in any community that you feel that you are part of. Just take yourself and get out there. Don't be afraid. Take this step. It will you will be amazed of how well a community can listen and interact and bring value.
Okay. So, at the end of the day, just have fun with it and trust yourself, trust your gut instincts. When it comes to making money, just make a good product, make a good plan, money will come. Just talk to people about your product, get input, and don't use your ego to push yourself forward. Just listen. Open your ears, open your mind, connect to as many people as you can, equally. And the tone is, I want to do more joke.
It's not too late.
Metaverse is coming, no doubt. I recommend each and every one of us to read a lot, like I mentioned, to try to experience and to engage, and most importantly, think big and even go and act and build something bigger. And of course, we are here to help and support and hopefully invest in our companies.
I'm very tempted to say the children are our future. But I agree with everything you guys said. I think listening is so much part of it. So thank you for such an enriching and interesting conversation. I feel that I've learned so much just sitting here today. So thanks.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Now we would love to get your question. I know we already have some questions from our community online, so they'll approach you in a minute, but please, if you have any questions, raise your hand. Yes, your name and your question. You can say it, I'll repeat.
My name is Jasmine, and as a content creator, as an influencer on Instagram, I want to understand what can it do in the metaverse for myself, or what's my option?
So Jasmine says, as a content creator on Instagram, what are the options for her to express herself on the metaverse?
So first of all, there's a lot of spaces you can actually build your own spaces, and you can introduce your art in art galleries, like online art galleries. You can do collaborations, but think about this for a second. Your profile picture on Instagram can be an NFT. I mean, everything about this, the commerce, everything about NFTs and tradables.
For anyone joining new, if you want to watch this event in the metaverse, I have the link just in the chat right
It
now.
doesn't have to be an NFT. Like, think about the ownership and how you share the utility of this NFT and the market behind it. And as a creator, basically you can create wonderful worlds. You can design beautiful worlds. I design worlds for fun and for a living. So basically, just have fun with it. In the metaverse, you can go into this platform. It's called Spatial, and on this you can present your NFTs for sale on the walls. You can have links to it, your computer, VR, whatever. So that's a perfect use for it.
Thank you.
I think the creator economy, as it's going to be happening on Web3, is still in its cyber. So whatever we give you as a concrete answer, it's only the beginning. I think that the answer is community, in the sense of where are you right now, and what do the people need from that place right now. If you're in Roblox, it's skins, it's experiences, it's stuff like that. If it's people who are creating those environments, it could be built-in environments that just need to customize to use for meetings. Depending where you are, it's looking at what do they need right now, what's valuable to the community I'm in, what are they willing to buy.
We'll move to that in a few minutes, is just making it ready. We have a question from the community, so if you could please share it with us.
So, as you may know, we are live broadcasting this event for our online community, and we actually have a question from a person from the community. So, if I want to take my brand into the metaverse, where do I start?
If you want to take your brand to the metaverse, this is a very broad question because it depends on the brand and its niche. I would say identify what your clients are looking for. Let's imagine for the sake of this question that it's fashion brand. Your audience can get an extra value by creating some kind of authenticity to your products. So if you're a fashion brand and you're creating a limited edition of clothing, you can manufacture NFTs as certificates and place them on the metaverse, enable people to wear them and showcase them to other people in the metaverse, in other platforms.
So the group presenting here is and we have a bunch of experts in our community, including the founder of Web3M.
That you can
over here.
Using this extra layer of digital assets, and you create this and place it on the metaverse or on whatever platform that you decide.
I have just another suggestion, maybe, is not go full on metaverse first. Create something that bridges what you're already doing in the real world or in the digital world to the metaverse. If it's clothing and fashion, it's creating something that is both digital and physical, and maybe the physical has a chip on it if you can look at the digital or own the digital, and when you buy it together. If it's digital, it's an experience that you can attend both in the physical world and in the digital world. Is allow people to discover that metaverse experience you're creating for marketing abilities without saying it's only there, it's only closed circle. It's allowing them to have something that they're familiar with and something that's new at the same time.
Thank you. Now, we'll take one more last question, and then you see the metaverse interaction behind us. One last question for you guys. Yeah, your name? Marina?
Yeah, I have a question now that NFT, it's not suitable for everyone, for all brands, I mean. And I know some brands is a successful combination of offline and online, like with the baristas. But what kind of signs I need to hear from my offline audience to bring some NFT in my brand?
So you're saying what do you need to know or get from your audience to be able to bring them NFT?
What kind of signs I need to hear to understand that they need something in Web3?
So what would be the signs from the community to understand that they need a Web3 or NFT or enhancement, if I got it right?
So there are two situations that can happen regarding your questions. One is that you can bring value using digital assets to your community. And the other one is that in the future you will be able to give them value using the digital assets. So I can think of a lot of brands that will not benefit from tokenizing some of their stuff or using real-life utilities inside of Web3 crypto NFTs stuff for the community. So this is a real niche question. You want to be specific on the community that you're referring, and we can really, I can maybe help you bring value to this specific community.
Maybe you can take it offline and just discuss just this idea specifically. First of all, again, round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much for sharing your time. I have learned a lot, and I'm sure you guys as well. And again, just to finish up, Adan, you brought us this the ability to broadcast this event on the metaverse. So show us, and if you can even explain, I can put my microphone next to you, what are you actually doing and what can we again do and interact in such online event on the metaverse?
Yeah, besides looking like a complete weirdo. So basically, I'm trying to talk real loud because I don't want to hit you in the face or something while I'm doing this juggling event. So I don't know what you're seeing behind me. I'll turn to my screen.
The metaverse.
Okay, so now I'm watching myself performing this. It's kind of weird, but again, the entire thing is manipulation. Things you can add into your schedule. basically this entire space, I added a lot of different elements like some movies and the portals on the side, the circles, you see the signs, to our main hall, our playground with our gallery. I can share with you NFTs. I can, give you like a nice, let's have a drink together, something like that. Okay, what's like a giant champagne? You go, have fun. So, boy, you have a lot of complexes when it comes to that. So the entire thing is okay. So let's look about this big bottle. And now we can do a 3D painting around it. Okay? I don't know if you can see it. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is like a 3D printing in a sense. I know there's someone here I want to face. But basically, now you have an original painting of mine. It's an NFT, you can buy it. But once you're done, you can manipulate it. You can take it in your hand. It can be a balloon. It can be a tree or bush, or it can be a party space for everyone. So basically, this is the miraculous world of VR and metaverses. And you can do things like screen movies. You can appreciate art. You can take selfies, for example. Move there. Okay. So everybody, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Now selfie. I'm going to shake it like a photo. So now you can take it and boom. Now we have a selfie. And we can have some duplicates. Everybody in the room has signed in with an email. It's going to get this sent to this So right now everybody's going to get in their email this selfie. Anybody else want to do it? Take something? Maybe hold on to my cloud. So this basically the things you can do on like a really small caliber. Imagine building like opening a nice small house in my hand and opening it up, and you can actually enjoy the experiences in there. So you create this entire immersive thing, and it blows your mind. Once you have it on your eyes, everything changes. You can experience the world as a woman, as a man, as a cat.
I see. Thank you so much.
You only wish you can imagine, and everything is in the tip of your fingers. So basically, by the way, it has hand tracking. I don't know if I can show you right now. Strings for idiots. That's why you have strings, because when you're clumsy, like me, I'll show you the utility of hand tracking, and that will be the last string. Let's see. Here. Oh, here we go. See? I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Yeah. Okay, so you have the same ability of moving. And you can see the fingers moving. Imagine, I don't know, doing some stuff with people. You can go and touch it. On the headset, you have air blowing on your face when there's loud noises. Experience like vibration in the air. And basically later on, you're going to have full body suits. Later on, you're going to bring your mind, chicks and stuff, everything you're afraid of. So basically, it's going to happen. It's inevitable, but if we can control it, make it fun for our children. And yeah, thank you.
For you guys, and keep building the most amazing things you're building. Good night.